What's going on, guys? It's Eric again, back with another video. Gonna kind of do what I call a weekend ramble style. Now, I'll get into a little bit of context here in just a little bit, but for my weekend rambles, I really kind of just sit here and just talk to the camera, think about things that are on my mind here, especially with the global pandemic of the coronavirus kind of going on here, which that's going to be one of the themes here. It's been as of late in a couple of the videos that you guys have seen here about and about the uptick of the videos that I've been pumping out here. We're going to talk about that here just a little bit, and probably really kind of what the overall. I'm going to try to fit in the overall theme. Probably is what going to be the next couple of weeks here on the channel because right now I'm not saying I'm quarantined or anything like that, but there isn't really a whole lot of places to go here in Michigan, and probably similar anywhere else in the United States or anywhere else in the world, like Europe, the United Kingdom, Australia, China, all those other places. Probably very restricted on where you can go here and whatnot. But I kind of want to get into this real quick here. And I'll get into a little bit of the sports here too, because I'm a little bit of a sports fanatic. I don't know how many people are big sports fanatic are, but I'm going to kind of dive into it here just a little bit, especially with the Detroit Lions, because you know, with my gear and whatnot, you kind of know what part of Michigan that I'm in and what teams I kind of root for here. So it's probably not really any big thing that I'm going to sit here and talk about sports on here. But anyway, first off, I want to really talk about the first week of work and really the first weekend out here with the coronavirus that's coming on and all the restrictions that they put on in here within the last week and what the state and kind of federal governments have kind of done here over the last, I will say, well, over the last 7 days. Last week we were at one time we were out and we were socializing in bars and restaurants, in coffee shops, at the grocery store, at the hardware store, pretty much anywhere where the public went to grab food and services. People pretty much kind of went to. Now, it's not to say that everything's kind of closed down here and whatnot, except for the essential needs like your grocery stores are still open. The hardware stores are still open, even though their staffs have probably been greatly reduced out here. The manufacturing services are still going full production. I necessarily can't say full production, but it probably have scaled back a little bit on their production and kind of shifting people in and out so people can still grab a paycheck and whatnot and still find food and services for the people that are kind of out there that are still out in the workforce. And you got the restaurant industry doing takeout only, and breweries doing kind of takeout beer with your growlers and your 4 and 6 packs and things like that. So kind of really much a different kind of experience that we're normally used to here in America and probably really anywhere else here in the United States. With the travel restrictions that have been put on, with the kind of some of them even put in shelter in place kind of restrictions on here, which is pretty much don't go outside if you don't necessarily have to, or travel anywhere if you don't have to. And really the only things necessary, and I've kind of been doing a little bit of a shelter in place here too. I'm not that I'm an introvert or anything like that. I'm usually an extrovert where I kind of like going out and socializing with people and whatnot. I've been trying to find a girlfriend here the last couple of days, and I really haven't been putting myself out there. But a lot of these kind of this travel restrictions and the shelter in place kind of stuff with the coronavirus being as highly contagious as it is, I think it's, and I don't want to be kind of doom and gloom here, but when I say it's not when we get it, it's not if we get it, it's when we get it. Because I think everyone at least is going to be touched by this kind of virus, at least in one way, either indirectly or directly. I kind of seem to think I may have already had this at one point, going back late January, early February. I had one hell of a cold, respiratory cold here, and I kind of had a runny nose to kind of go along with it. I don't know if it was a combination of the two things. Now, I'll be completely honest, I didn't even know if I even had this virus or anything. But there was one hell of a cold that was kind of going through here. And I just kind of chalked it up as the flu. A bad flu symptom. I had the respiratory, I had the sore throat, I had achiness which would kind of give you kind of flu-like symptoms, but with the kind of what we already know now, and kind of looking back on it back in late January, coming into very early February. I mean, it was I don't. I honestly, I'm questioning whether I really had this virus and whatnot. Some people didn't have it as bad as me. I wouldn't say mine was a severe case at all or a bad case. It was worse than your normal kind of cold would have put it, but I wouldn't put it to the bad area. Over the counter drugs kind of worked it out, like gotten rid of your congestion, gotten rid of the sore throat, or kind of at least kind of made it bearable. I will put it that way. The drainage in the throat is kind of what makes your sore throat kind of stuff happen. And when you guys, at least I notice it when my nose stops running and drains back into my throat, usually the sore throat goes away. So that kind of did it. I kind of felt better overall. But then when the over the counter drugs started wearing off, I kind of started coming back down and started feeling bad again. It only took like 2 or 3 days to get over for me. I was kind of feeling better. I still had a little bit of a headache and a little bit of a congestion kind of going on, but really other than that, a little bit of congestion and a little bit. I had a little bit of a cough too. I never did check my temperature, so I'm guessing I was probably running a fever here too, but. All those things kind of make me wonder, and even though when you look on the CDC and the WHO websites, that's not what this virus does. So, one point tells me no, I didn't have it, but the other point of it is it's so new and we're still gathering information. Who's to say that that wasn't it? And I'm not saying that I'm not immune to it again or I can't get it again, this virus or whatever this thing is. I'm not saying I can't get it again. I'm just saying I'm wondering if I wasn't exposed to it once already, and now we're starting to see a second kind of strain kind of coming through here and uh, kind of making its way across the globe here and whatnot. But I don't want to be a doomer and gloomer or anything anything like that. And kind of going out into stores here and whatnot. I kind of posted one of the videos up here on YouTube about it. It's now starting to get into beef, where you can't find anything beef, you can't find pork or poultry, even fish you necessarily can't find. You got to really search for it. I know the grocery stores and the employees there have done a hell of a job. I gotta give it to our employees that have been kind of working out in grocery stores like Walmart up here, Meijer, Family Fare, which is a Spartan store. I don't know how many Spartan stores are all throughout, let alone Michigan or the United States or even in the Midwest, or I don't know if anyone's really even heard of Spartan stores, but they have done a hell of a job of keeping the items stocked at what you can get. It still kind of blows my mind yet that you're still having to search for toilet paper and toilet paper. What's another thing here? I can't really think of some clean like baby wipes, all that sort of stuff. Seems like that's being hoarded, at least here. I don't know about anywhere else. Kind of cleaning supplies. I grabbed one cleaning supply because I knew I needed it, but I only took one bottle. I don't take 7, 8, 10 kind of things with. And I don't know if this is still happening. It kind of seems to be kind of relieving because I think the message has been pounded into at least people here. Don't take what you don't are going to use. I mean, leave some for the next person. And I do like that they've also kind of started the mornings out for the elderly people, maybe 1 hour or 2 hours to come in for the elderly to come in and get the supplies that they need, stock the shelves and get the supplies that they need. And then people like me that are kind of in the 40s kind of area, 20, 30, 40, 50s area can kind of go out and kind of get your supplies here as well, so you can kind of get through this pandemic. I still think this is the kind of the last part on here that I kind of want to say about this. I think that we're still on the uptick. I think we're going to still see an uptick probably through the summer. I will say that, kind of based on what I'm seeing, and I only watched just a little bit of it. And there's a website I'll go ahead and put down on in the description area here, guys, where it kind of gives you. I'm not necessarily saying live updates, but it kind of updates it. I think maybe once a day. It's on the John Hopkins website. I'll go ahead and I'll look for it and I'll put it down here. Maybe after the video is posted, by the way, till you see this link down here. So you guys might want to come back and get that link. But it kind of shows you where the coronavirus is, where the worst pandemics are. And that's kind of really what you got to focus on here too. Even though you hear this number that they're throwing out here, you got to actually look and figure out where are these viruses, where's the coronavirus at is kind of where I'm getting here. And I've noticed that it's been in New York. Seattle's kind of been hit pretty hard. Washington State's kind of been hit pretty hard. You're seeing an uptick in Los Angeles. Usually your big cities are kind of, even over here in Detroit, you're seeing it. You're seeing the numbers rise over to the east side of the state, the southeast side of the state, the Detroit area, your Novi area, Southgate, downriver, that kind of area, kind of right in the suburbs. No, I can't remember if I said Novi, but it's right into the suburbs of Detroit is kind of where your biggest outbreaks are happening here too. And I know how many people don't have this virus and say, well, I've only have mild symptoms. I think I have it, but I only have mild symptoms. But I'm not going to go in and kind of put the health, go get tested and put the health system at risk of being more stressed than what it already is. You probably got people that are doing that, and it's probably the smart thing to do here too. If you only have mild symptoms and you think you can get through this, I would probably kind of just self-quarantine yourself first off. Call your doctor, make sure that's what you got. And if they say yes, and they ask you to go get tested, then go get tested. Or if they say stay home and just quarantine yourself, then just stay home and quarantine yourself. There's no reason for you to go out and infect anybody else on here. Now, I know we're highly social creatures and whatnot, and we kind of get cabin fever and whatnot, but just take your common sense and apply it to today's area, because it's real. 14 days may seem like a long time, but really 14 days here is going to be like almost going into the second week of November. So really, or November, excuse me, April. So it's really not that long, and you're starting to get into the summer. If you've already got it, you're gonna recover, and then summertime's gonna be your time to be like, hey, I've already had it, and not to say you can't get it again, but you could at least go out and enjoy some things and maybe feel like you've kind of built up some immunity on it to kind of go out and not to say to go out and kind of do whatever you want, but if you go out, just, again, use common sense, go out and get your supplies here and whatnot. So I'm going to get off that soapbox here now, guys. Really, it just all comes down to common sense, kind of when you kind of go to this thing. What else did I want to talk about? I'll talk about my dating stuff on here. This coronavirus thing and the dating kind of thing has been, it's kind of crimped my style a little bit, I will say that. I have been using the Facebook dating app, and only because it's free, and only because I can do it at my own leisure, and I don't necessarily feel pressured to kind of go look at this thing, other than have a pay sites, which, guys, I will admit, and women too here, do not go to any pay sites on here, because it's a waste of your time and a waste of your money and a waste of your effort to go to these things and to put yourself out there and put, what is it now, like $100 and some. That's stupid to try to find somebody. Just go out to the bar, or go out when the bar is obviously reopened. Go out in some kind of social settings and kind of interact with people. And now I'm not saying you got to kind of be between like 2 or 3 feet or anything like that. You can still do the 6 feet distance, social distancing thing, and still conversate with somebody and kind of get to know them and do all that sort of thing. So that's kind of crimped my style here just a little bit. The weight loss thing is kind of I will say with everything that's kind of been going on with this virus thing, my weight is kind of taking a little bit of a hit yet. I'm starting to kind of, I will say, ration myself on my food. Now, yesterday I kind of pounded down some pizza and some breadsticks, which I know are bad. And I've kind of bought some beer here and whatnot, but and had a couple cans, Miller High Life, only because I really can't. At the craft beer places, they're not taking back any returns. So, and I know that Myers and kind of some of the grocery stores, you can at least kind of take returns back on. So that's why I've been kind of drinking some of the macro stuff, like your Miller, your Bud, your Coors sort of stuff. So I can take those back and kind of get my deposit back on that I've already paid into to get the deposit on. So, goodness, I just lost my train of thought of what I was kind of saying here. Oh, my weight. So yeah, I've been kind of rationing myself here a little bit. I've been kind of going out and exercising. It's still pretty cold today. We're kind of going through a little bit of a cold snap. It's in the mid to upper 20s today. It's only in the morning. It's what, at this point in time when this video is being recorded, is 10:45 here on the 22nd of March. So the weight loss has kind of really taken a hit here. I really can't go to the gym because all the gyms are closed because of this obvious coronavirus thing. It always kind of seems to go back to this coronavirus thing. So yeah, so the weight loss has kind of really taken a hit here. I want to talk about the Detroit Lions here a little bit. That kind of seems to really be the only sport that's kind of really has done anything here. I know the NBA is kind of trying to get back in and trying to get us distracted from this coronavirus pandemic. There's a coronavirus thing again, kind of going back and kind of getting us away from the doom and gloom that kind of the media is kind of doing, which again, that's another story for another time. But I go to the news to get information. I don't go to the news to kind of hear about what's kind of going bad in our country. It's kind of the way I kind of look at things. I just kind of maybe look at, okay, what do I need to see? What do I need to look at the weather? And for anything else, sports has kind of been kind of put on hold here. So your sports journalists are probably having a real hard time trying to get anything, trying to get your articles out here or anything like that. But anyway, kind of going back to the NFL and the Detroit Lions and Darius Slay here. I apologize for bouncing around here too, guys. With Darius Slay kind of being traded to the Eagles now, and with A'Shawn Robinson leaving, I think he went to the Rams. And there's been a couple of other transactions that they've done. Some players that have moved on from Detroit. I think that, and again, this is just one person's opinion, and opinions are like assholes. Anyone, everybody has one. But kind of looking back on how the Detroit Lions have kind of entered this kind of free agency period and kind of where they were at when Jim Caldwell was here, to the first year of Matt Patricia, to the second year of Matt Patricia, to kind of where we're at now. It seems like we've regressed, and then we kind of said, well, the players don't fit our scheme, so now we're going to go ahead and rebuild. And especially kind of taking away a lot of impact players and kind of letting them move on. And I kind of get this feeling like with everything that's kind of happened here with the Lions and the way the transactions have gone, I kind of feel like we could be seeing another 0-16 season here for the Lions. It kind of seems like we're taking the extremes here based on Matt Patricia's kind of feeling and kind of what I've gathered with this I will say a 2.25 years. I'm not saying seasons, years with Matt Patricia. It kind of seems he wants to do it his way and only his way only, and not taking anything else into consideration. Kind of using that Bill Belichick kind of attitude, and you got to have the right attitude to implement that type of the culture here, because it doesn't work everywhere. And Bill Belichick has been able to harness his players' talents and the best of their abilities to go do stuff with, like with Kyle Van Noy. To me, that was a stupid fucking trade that the Lions did on trading him, and now he was a Super Bowl champion because of it. We seem to be only picking players from, at least that's how it appears. I don't know if this is actually what's going on. It appears like we're only going to the Patriots and saying, hey, what can you offer us? Instead of going anywhere else within the other 31 teams. Is it 30 teams? Because Detroit's one of the 32. Other than 30 teams saying, hey, what person are you have for potential trade, and what do you guys want for him? Because we're looking for X, Y, and Z. To me, I think we're because Bob Quinn knows that organization, so he knows the Patriots, and he probably knows the people that work there, and that's completely fine. I'm not saying that you can't get advice or anything like that or ask for stuff, but don't let that be your only outlet for trades to happen and for anything else to any kind of other transactions to happen with only one team. And I think that we're focusing too much on the Patriots because of the success that they've had and really anything else. And especially what Darius Slay said with Matt Patricia, and how one guy he was praising when I think it was a wide receiver, and he brought it up in one of the team meetings and said, hey, don't be sucking his privates. I mean, what kind of, number one, what kind of man does it make him? Number two, what kind of a leader and a coach does it make him? I mean, I think he's taken this. You got to have your own flavor to be able to coach. And when you're a coach, it's your rules. You don't have to take a rule from the Bill Belichick kind of, or the set of rules and the culture that he brought, and try to bring it into a different place. Because most of the time, it's not going to work. And I just don't, honestly, guys, when it all boils down to, I don't know what Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn are actually really doing in Detroit. It seems like we've taken away, either the impact players have either gone via free agency or we've traded them away, especially with Quandre Diggs kind of going to Seattle. That was another looking back on, that was a dumb trade. I honestly don't know what kind of transpired. Maybe it was much like what Darius Slay said here. seems like we either trade our guys away, or they're going away via free agency, and we're going to the Patriots too often to kind of pick players from their organization to bring in here into Detroit, which it kind of seems like their usefulness is kind of gone here. That's why the Patriots have kind of let them go. So I don't know, guys. I mean, it's going to be interesting if the NFL ever does get to play along with the NBA, the MLB, what NBA, MLB, and NHL, which those playoffs have been canceled, along with anything here in Michigan has been canceled, and especially with the NCAA and their national championship, their winter and spring championships have been canceled due to all this stuff because the NCAA has a lot more people to really think about, athletes to think about in different kind of sports. I don't know what's necessarily is going to kind of go here, guys. It's going to be interesting. I will say it's already really been an interesting start of the year for 2020. I hope this doesn't kind of go into the summer. I hope it doesn't crimp our style where we really can't go out and be social and be interacting with people and kind of taking life back over. Because really, guys, life just doesn't stop just because we're crimped up in our houses. We still got bills to pay. We still got stuff we got to get, goods and services that still got to be done, and all that other stuff is by far. Goodness, I can't even really remember where I was really even going with this now. But you got to have goods and services and got to put people to work to kind of get through this. The economy shouldn't be shutting down because of a global pandemic as came on here. If you get it, do your best. And if you got to go to the hospital, go to the hospital. But if you got mild symptoms, stay at home and don't spread this around here, guys. Okay, that's really the big thing here. Regardless of whatever else I've said on here, just go ahead and do that. I apologize for bouncing around everywhere. Guys, if you've made it to this end of this video, I'm surprised you made it this far, number one. Number two, I hope everyone is in good health. I hope no one, that at least my subscribers or any of the viewers have the coronavirus. If you do, I would like to hear about it, maybe hear about your experiences, or maybe give me a link. If you have a YouTube channel and you've kind of experienced some coronavirus stuff, I would really like to know what kind of symptoms, what you've had, and kind of your experience with it. Because I know that it's, like I said, guys, I don't think it's if we're going to get it, it's when we're going to get it. And we really got to be do our own due diligence to get this under control and to kind of have life go on and, just kind of live life to the fullest and make this thing go away, this virus go away, whether it's through what we're kind of doing now or whether it's through a vaccine, one of the two. So, guys, if you made it to the end of this video, I don't know what kind of hashtag to put down there, but put your own hashtag down there if you've actually made it to the end of this video. What do you guys think about the coronavirus? What do you guys think about all the social distancing and the closing of stores and maybe the economic impact of this? Now, I'm no economic expert by any stretch of the imagination. I look at it, I'm just another idiot on YouTube kind of putting my opinion out here. Hopefully it's common sense opinion. Number three, if you're a Detroit fan or any fan of the NFL, Major League Baseball, which I'm a big Tigers fan, by the way, Detroit Tigers fan, NHL fan, or really kind of any sport, golf, tennis, whatever, how has sports impacted you? Is it in a good way? Is it in a bad way? Kind of whatever you guys want to go ahead and put down in the comments, go ahead and do that. I'll try to respond to everybody that kind of comes across this video. It's kind of getting towards 11 o'clock right now. Goodness, I'm seeing 25 minutes. Well, I've got to edit this down, obviously, but I'm seeing 25 minutes here on the clock here, which I think has been pretty much one of my longest videos. This may be the longest video I've really ever done. So, guys, with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Like I said, down into the comments, please, 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 take your due diligence if you got it. If you got the coronavirus, stay inside, do the quarantine days, all that good stuff. If talk to your doctor. If he wants you to get tested, go get tested, all that sort of stuff. If he says to stay home, stay home. Just take common sense on all this, guys. All right, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. I'm going to drink some more coffee, get some stuff around, head to my parents, and goodness, I just spit right there. I apologize for that. Go to my parents because they want to go do some stuff and maybe kind of go out into the woods here and whatnot. That's what I'm really going to, today's video is going to be. If you guys see this later on, or maybe Monday or Tuesday, I might put that up. So, yeah. And I really do appreciate everybody for kind of looking at this video here. Well, I'm starting to ramble on here, guys. Deuces. Take care.